Good morning. This is Dr. Jeniranjan Gaud, Assistant Professor of Mathematics, Dr. BRR Government Degree College, Jadcherla. In this lecture, I am going to discuss about Riemann integration. The outline of this lecture is, first I would like to discuss about Riemann integral and partition. Next, refinement of partition. Finally, Darboux theorem. Now let me start with Riemann integration. Riemann integral. In earlier stage, integration means the inverse of differentiation. Inverse of differentiation. So that a function f is called integral of a given function if f dash x is equal to f of x for all x belongs to domain. And geometrically, we define integral a to b f of x dx is nothing but the area of the region obtained by the curve y is equal to f of x bounded with x is equal to a and x is equal to b. So the reference of integration from summation point of view was always associated with the geometrical concepts. But to formulate the independent theory of integration, the German mathematician Riemann gave a purely arithmetic definition to this integration. It is free from the intuitive dependence on geometrical concepts. Many refinements and generalizations of the subject followed, most noteworthy being Lebesgue theory of integration. Existence of integral. Before that, we have to know the definition of partition. By a partition of AB, we mean a finite set P of points x0, x1, x2, so on, xn, where A is equal to x0, less than or equal to x1, less than or equal to so on, less than or equal to xn is equal to b. The partition P consists of n plus 1 points. Clearly, any number of points of AB can be considered here. Partition means a finite set of points in between A and B. Set of all finite set in between A and B. And x0, x1, x1, x2, so on, xn minus 1, xn are the subintervals of AB. We shall use the symbol delta xi to denote ith subinterval xi minus 1 comma xi as the sublength xi minus 1. Here delta xi is xi minus 1. Okay. Here xi ith subinterval can be defined as xi minus 1 comma xi. Since f is bounded interval on closed AB, then it is bounded on each subinterval of AB, or it is a subinterval corresponding to partition P. Let capital Mi, small mi be the bounds, particularly infimum and supremum of the ith subinterval of f in ith subinterval. From the sums, UPF is equal to summation I is equal to 1 to n, mi delta xi is equal to m1 delta x1 plus m2 delta x2 plus on mn delta xn. And LPF is equal to summation I is equal to 1 to n mi delta xi, that is m1 delta x1 plus m2 delta x2 plus on mn delta xn. Here capital M1 is supremum of first subinterval, that is x0, x1, and delta xi is length of x0, x1, that is x1 minus x0. So I write this as capital M1 into x1 minus x0 plus capital M2 into x2 minus x1 plus so on capital M into xn minus 1. And here small m1 is infimum of first subinterval, that is x0, x1, and delta x1 is length of subinterval x1 minus x0. These sums respectively called upper sum and lower sum of f corresponding to the partition P. For different partition, we will get different upper and lower sums. If capital M and small m, here this is small m, not n. This is small m. M and m are bounds of f in AB. We have m is less than or equal to mi, less than or equal to capital Mi, less than or equal to capital M. That implies m into delta xi less than or equal to mi into delta xi less than or equal to capital Mi into delta xi less than or equal to capital M into delta xi. Putting 1 is equal to I is equal to 1, 2, 3, so on n, and adding all the inequalities, we get m into, see first this the m into delta x1 minus delta x1 plus delta x2 plus on delta xn. Delta x1 plus delta x2 plus delta xn is what we get? B minus a. See how? First delta x1 is equal to x1 minus x0. Delta x2 is equal to x2 minus x1, and so on. Delta xn is equal to xn minus xn minus 1. So x1 x1 cancel, x2 x2 cancel, xn minus xn cancel. We get only xn minus x0. If you add this all these terms, we get xn minus x0. xn is b minus a. So m into b minus a less than or equal to summation of I is equal to 1 to n small mi delta xi. By definition it is LPF. So LPF less than or equal to UPF less than or equal to capital M into b minus a for all b greater or equal to a. Now each partition gives rise to a pair of sums, the upper and lower sums. By considering all the partitions of AB, we get set of upper sums and set of lower sums. So if you take for different partitions, we get different upper sums. So I take all the set of upper sums and all the set of lower sums. I denote set of all upper sums is U, lower sum is L. So the inequality 1 shows both the sets are bounded. So from this, it is minimum value, it is maximum value. So LPF is in between m into b minus a, capital M into b minus a. UPF is in between m into b minus a and m into b minus a. So these are the sets are bounded. It has supremum and the infimum. The infimum of the set upper sums, set of all upper sums, the infimum set of upper sums is called upper integral. The supremum of lower sums is called lower integral over AB. Thus, integral a to b bar f dx. Here bar indicates upper integral. So a to b bar f dx is equal to infimum of set U. What is U? U is equal to set of all upper sums corresponding to partition. So infimum of UPF, P is a partition of AB. The same way, integral a bar to b, here integral a bar that means a bar indicates lower. A bar to b f dx lower integral is equal to supremum of the set L. What is L? L is set of all lower sums. So supremum of LPF, P is a partition of AB. These two integrals may or may not be equal. So this is called upper integral. This is called lower integral. Both may exist or may not exist. If exist, it may not equal, may equal or may not equal. So by definition here, Darboux condition of integrability. When the two integrals are equal, so here upper integral and lower integral both are equal, then we can say that the function is Riemann integrable. Integral a to b bar f of f dx is equal to integral a bar to b f dx is equal to a to b f dx. We say that f is Riemann integrable or simply integrable, particularly over closed interval ab, and the common value of these integrals is called Riemann integral of f over ab. We express this by writing f belongs to RAB or simply R. Evidently, from the equation 1, what we write? What is the equation 1? From this, integral a to b f of x dx, m into b minus a less than or equal to integral a to b f of x dx less than or equal to m into b minus a b greater or equal to a. Thus, the upper and lower integrals are defined for every bounded function, but they may not be necessarily equal for every bounded function. There exists a function for which these integrals are not equal. Such functions are not integrable. The both upper lower integrals are not equal, then the function is not integrable. See, some remarks are there about from the definitions. See, first one, the statement that integral a to b f of x dx exists. It implies that the function is bounded and integrable over a to b. And we have introduced the concept of integrability of a function subject to in very important limitations. They are f bounded and the interval is finite. From the equation 1 and 2, it follows that when b greater or equal to a, m into b minus less than or equal to LPF less than or equal to integral a to b f of x dx less than or equal to UPF less than or equal to m into b minus a. Okay. So here a to b f of x dx is with respect to, if integrable, both upper and lower integrals are equal. So from lower integral, supremum of LPF. So LPF should less than or equal to its supremum. So LPF less than or equal to supremum of LPF. This is less than or equal to infimum of lower integral a bar to b f of dx is less than or equal to integral a to b bar f of dx. It is infimum of UPF. Infimum of UPF less than or equal to its element UPF. Since the upper integral is the greatest lower bound of the set of upper sums, upper integral is greatest lower bound of the set of upper sums. Therefore, corresponding to any epsilon greater than 0, there exists an upper sum UPF, nothing but UPF, such that UP1F less than integral a to b bar f of x f dx plus epsilon. Similarly, LP2F is greater than a bar to b f dx minus epsilon 2. So therefore, now the second observation is UPF minus LPF is equal to summation mi into delta xi minus summation I small mi delta xi is equal to summation I capital Mi minus small mi into delta xi. This Mi minus capital Mi minus small mi being the oscillation of f subinterval xi. So this is oscillating in the subinterval of f. So UPF minus LPF is called oscillatory sum denoted by WPF. It is non-negative. See example. Show that the constant function k is integrable and integral a to b kx dx k dx is equal to k into b minus c. As per definition, it is integrable. If it is integrable, then its lower integral and upper integral both are equal. So integral a to b bar f k dx is equal to integral a bar to b k dx. The common value is called Riemann integral. See, to find lower integral, we have to find lower sum, right? LPF. For any partition P, the interval AB, we have LPF. LPF is equal to, we know the definition, summation I is equal to 1 to n small mi delta xi. That is m1 delta x1 plus m2 delta x2 plus 1 mn delta xn. Here, function is k. So, in each subinterval, for the all values of subinterval, function values are same, k. So, infimum is k, supremum is also k. So, m1 is k into delta x1 plus m2 is also k into delta x2 plus 1 k into delta xn. If you take k common, write delta x1 plus delta x2 plus delta xn. We know that delta x1 is x0 x1 minus x0 plus x2 minus x1 plus 1 xn minus xn minus 1. Finally, we get k into xn minus x0. We know xn is equal to b and x0 is equal to a. Therefore, k into b minus c. Therefore, integral a bar to b k dx is equal to supremum of LPF. So, for each LPF, for any partition, the LPF is k into b minus a. So, supremum of this set of all LPFs is k into b minus a. And also UPF. UPF is equal to, by definition, capital M1 delta x1 plus capital M2 delta x2 plus 1 capital Mn delta xn. So, for each subinterval, the supremum is k. So, k delta x1 plus k delta x2 plus 1 k into delta xn. So, therefore, k into delta x1 plus delta x2 plus 1 delta xn, the sum of this sublengths is b minus a. So k into b minus c. Therefore integral a to b bar kx dx is equal to infimum of all upper sums is equal to k into b minus. Here lower integral is equal to k into b minus a. Upper integral is k into b minus a. Therefore both are equal. It implies that integral the constant function k is integrable and the integral is k into b minus a. See, show that the function f defined by f of x is equal to 0 when x is rational, 1 when x is irrational is not integrable on any interval. So first consider interval closed to ab. Let us consider the partition of p of interval ab. So subintervals are a x1, x1 x2, so on xn, xn minus 1, xn means b. It is interval a x0 x1 or x0 x1. There exist infinitely many irrational, infinitely many rational. For all rational value, the function value is 0. For all irrational, the function value is 1. So for any interval, we get two values, either 0 or 1. So for any subinterval, infimum is 0, supremum is 1. Okay. So UPF is equal to summation I is equal to 1 to n capital Mi delta xi. That is 1 if m1 delta x1 plus m2 delta x2 plus 1 mn delta xn. So what is m1? Supremum of first subinterval is 1. So 1 into delta x1 plus 1 into delta x2 plus 1 and delta xn. That is b minus a. Therefore integral a to b bar f dx is equal to infimum of all upper sums, that is b minus a. So LPF is equal to summation I is equal to 1 to n mi delta xi. That is infimum m1 delta x1 plus m2 delta x2 plus 1 mn delta xn. What is m1? m1 is infimum of first subinterval x1 x0. So for a rational value we get 0. So the infimum is 0. So we get only two function values, that is either 0 or 1. So 1 is supremum and 0 is infimum. So 0 into delta x1 plus 0 into delta x2 is equal to 0. So a bar to be f of x dx, fx dx is equal to, that is supremum of LPF, that is 0. Observe this. Upper integral is b minus a, lower integral is 0. Both are not equal. Hence, the function is not integrable. See one more example. Show that x square is an integrable on any interval 0k. First, let us consider the partition of p of 0k obtained by dividing the interval into n equal parts. I take a partition p by dividing the interval by n and are n equal parts. We divide the given interval 0k in n equal parts. So what we get? The partition p is equal to 0k by n, 2k by n and so on nk by n. These are the points in the partition of p. Now subintervals are 0k by n, comma k by n into 2k by n, comma 2k by n, comma 3k by n and so on, n minus 1 k by n into comma n into k by n. These are the subintervals of interval 0 comma k. So I subinterval is I minus 1 into k by n, comma I into k by n. This is the ith subinterval of 0k. So I subinterval of 0k, k is equal to f of x is equal to x square. So supremum of this ith subinterval is I into k by n whole square. Infimum of this subinterval, ith subinterval is I minus 1 k by n whole square. Since f of x is equal to x square, so infimum is I minus 1 into k by n whole square. Supremum is I into k by n whole square. So these are the lower and upper bounds of the function in xi, ith subinterval. The length of this subinterval is k by n. So u in of p x square, UPF, f is x square. So I write UP of p comma x square. That is m1 delta x1 plus m2 delta x2 plus 1 mn delta xn. What is m1? Supremum of subinterval. So k by n whole square into delta x1 plus 2k by n whole square into delta x2 plus 1 nk by n whole square into delta xn. So delta x1 is k by n. K by n into k by n whole square, that is k cube by n cube into here 1 square plus 2 square plus 1 n square. Sum of squares of first natural numbers is n and n plus 1 2n plus 1 by 6. So I write this as k cube by n cube into n by 6 into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1. I take n common from this and n common from this. We get n into n into n cube cancel. So k cube by 6 into 1 plus 1 by n into 2 plus 1 by n. So all the set of all upper sums is k cube by 6 1 plus 1 by n into 2 plus 1 by n for n is equal to 1 to so on. What we get for any values. And L of px square. L of px square is m1 delta x1 plus m2 delta x2 plus on mn delta xn. Here minimum value is m1 is first subinterval 0 comma k by n. So infimum is 0. So 0 into delta x1 plus second subinterval like infimum value 1 into k by n whole square into delta x2 plus 1 n minus 1 k by n whole square into delta xn. So k cube by n cube into 0 plus 1 square plus 2 square plus 1 n minus 1 whole square. This k cube by n cube into n minus 1 by 6 into n into 2n minus 1. Apply the same formula for n minus 1 squares of n, sum of squares of n minus 1 terms. So we get k cube by 6 into 1 minus 1 by n, 2 into 1 minus n. So infimum of u of p comma x square is equal to, this is, if n is equal to n tends to infinity, we get infimum value. So k cube by 6 into 2, that is k cube by 3. The same way, supremum of this set is also k cube by 6. Both values are same. So therefore, upper integral and lower integral are equal. That is k cube by 3. Therefore, integral 0 to k x square dx, k square dx is k by 3, and the given function of x equal to x square is integrable. Now refinement of partitions. For any partition P, the length of the largest subinterval is called the norm of or mesh of the partition. It is denoted by mu of P. The largest length of subinterval is called norm. For any partition, the largest subinterval length of subinterval is called norm or mesh of partition, that is u of p. Mu of p is equal to maximum of delta xi, 1 less than or equal to I less than or equal to n. A partition p star is said to be refinement of p if p star is p substar equal to p star, or p star contained p, that is every point of p is point of p star. So for any partition, P star is said to be refinement of P. Refinement of is nothing but better than P. Then there exists at least one point more than the set P. So P star is superset of P. So we also say that P star refines P, or that P star is finer than P. If P1 and P2 are two partitions, then we say that P star is their common refinement if P star is equal to P1 union P2. P1 union P2, here we know that P1 subset are equal to P1 union P2, P2 subset are equal to P1 union P2. So P1 subset to P star, so P star is refined than refinement of P, or finer than of P1. The same way P2 is also. If P star is a refinement of a partition P, then for a bounded function f, L P star f greater or equal to LPF and U P star f is less than or equal to UPF. For any refinement P star, L P star f is greater or equal to LPF. U P star f is less than or equal to UPF. Suppose the first that P star contains just one point more than P. Let us the point is xi. And suppose that this point is in ith interval, that is xi minus 1 less than xi less than xi. As a function is bounded over the entire interval AB, it is bounded in each subinterval xi. Let W1, W2, Mi be the infimum of f in the intervals xi minus 1 xi, xi xi, xi minus 1 xi respectively. Clearly, Mi is less than or equal to W1, Mi is less than or equal to W2. Okay, LP star f minus LPF is equal to W by definition W1 into zeta minus xi minus 1 plus W2 into x minus xi minus j minus LPF is mi into xi minus 1. LP star f minus LPF is equal to W. This is, I write this as W1 xi minus xi minus 1 plus W2 into xi minus xi minus j minus mi into xi plus xi minus xi minus xi minus 1. Simply write this as Wi minus mi xi minus xi minus 1 plus W2 minus mi xi minus xi greater or equal to 0. Since W1 minus mi, W2 minus mi both are positive, so this is all positive. If P star contains P points more than P, we repeat the above reasoning P times and arrive at LP star f greater or equal to LPF. Similarly, we can prove that UP star f is less than or equal to UPF. If P star is a refinement of P, then UP star f minus LP star f is less than or equal to UPF minus LPF. How we get this? This is LP star UP star f minus LP star f is less than or equal to LPF minus UPF minus LPF. First we know that LP star f is equal to UPF. Multiply first inequality by minus. What we get? Minus LP star f less than or equal to minus LPF, or minus LPF is greater or equal to minus LP star f. Add both, we get this one. For any two partitions P1, P2, LP1 f less than or equal to UP2f. That is nothing but no upper sum can ever be less than any lower sum. Any upper sum is greater or equal to lower sum, any lower sum. Let P star be a common refinement of P1 and P2 so that P star is equal to P1 union P2. Using the above theorem, we get P star's refinement, right? LP1f is less than or equal to LP star f less than or equal to UP star f less than or equal to UP2f. Therefore, LP1f less than or equal to UP2f. If any bounded function f, lower integral f dx is less than or equal to upper integral. So integral f dx less than or equal to integral upper integral f dx. By keeping P2 is fixed here, P2 is fixed, and taking LUB, least upper bound, for all partitions P1 from one above the theorem, this theorem from this one, from one of this theorem, we get integral lower integral f dx is not equal to u of p to f. So for 2, taking greatest lower bound for all p2 in the equation 2, we get integral lower integral is less than or equal to upper integral. Okay, this is about refinement partitions. In the next video we will discuss Darboux theorem and other important theorems. Thank you.